Good afternoon, friends. It's Thursday, January 14th. It's time for the reflection. I'm sure I don't have to remind you, but these last 10 months have been probably the most disorienting and frustrating months I think we've ever been through. Who would have thought back in March, when we went into the safe operation mode, that we would not be back to a normal life in January of 2021. I remember being anxious about New York when they were having such a horrible time fighting COVID and so many deaths were happening. I remember being relieved that on the West Coast it wasn't happening. Well, the cycle has shifted, and now we're having all those struggles with COVID-19 and deaths mounting upon deaths. During these last 10 months, life here on top of the hill on Trinity Drive has been anything but normal. When our preschool shut down last March for the rest of the school year, the playground also went very silent. The sounds of kids playing in the playground during the course of the mornings just not existing. The parking lot changed as well. I had the choice of spots. I could park wherever I wanted to because nobody else was up here for most of the time. Well, that's changed slightly. The parking lot did get transformed over these 10 months. At first, it was people gathering after hours. I knew that because there would be small piles of trash stacked neatly by our trash bin enclosure. Every once in a while, however, there must have been a party in the dark corner of the parking lot where I would find the after effects of the party. It sometimes was broken glass, frequently cans and bottles. I guess they were here late at night and back in the corner where no one could see them. I also would encounter the occasional group when I would come back to the office after dinner sometimes. Groups of 6 to 8 who were in the parking lot chatting and finding a safe place to visit. One group was lippy with me, and I suspect I probably wasn't as pleasant to them as I could have been. And I wondered what was drawing them here. Well, Rob and Rebecca shared with me that the church site is a Pokemon site. I didn't know that. Don't play the game, so why would I? So then I began to wonder if maybe they were here playing a game and I had interrupted them. I said I would ask more politely the next time. Unfortunately, that next time never happened. There were also families who gathered here in the afternoons because our parks were closed. They had nowhere else to gather, so they used the portico and the church parking lot. Grandparents would drive in for visits, I know that, because they would be visiting with their grandkids and the parents who lived in the apartment complex down at the bottom of the hill. I had many conversations with those folks, and they were always appreciative of the fact that the church parking lot and the benches were never cordoned off. There were parents who also brought their kids up here and were learning how to ride bikes and scooters in our parking lot. Wide open spaces, nothing to worry about. Big siblings helping younger siblings learn the joy of riding. I was here when 2 adults were riding in the parking lot for about an hour, I think it was. I heard their noises, their laughter, their chats. I couldn't distinguish words. I later discovered that it was a potential father and son-in-law conversation taking place. I'd love to know the next chapter in that story. And it's always been a joy to see families come up here, and especially for me, the kids, using our parking lot for their time of play. Kind of reminded me of preschool sessions. I watched a dad teach his younger daughter the joy of riding without training wheels. He would run beside her and then eventually let her go. First couple of times, obviously, in the learning process wasn't always good. But then there was this scream of delight when she realized that she had been pedaling solo for some time now. And then there were the events of the last 2 days. Yesterday, as I was leaving the office, heading home to get ready for our Zoom Bible study, There were three youngsters riding around in the parking lot. It was the wonderful afternoon, and they were having a ball chasing each other around the lot and around the circle with three crosses. I smiled as I saw them and thought back to those ancient days of my life, when after school I would be riding on my bike with my friends in our neighborhoods. As I was getting to the car, the oldest one rode up and mustered her courage to speak. You could tell that because she was just trying to get words out and was afraid. Then the words came. She asked me if it was okay if they were there, and I said, absolutely. I'm glad you're able to use the parking lot and have fun riding. I invited her to come back often, telling her that it's usually empty in the afternoon, and she said, we know that. We've been here before. And then came a scary ask on her behalf. She asked if it would be possible to use a bathroom because her younger sister really needed to go. I smiled and said, sure. As I was opening the church, she got the other two, and after I showed them where the restrooms were, they used the facility. And as they were leaving, she said to me, thank you very much, sir. We really needed this. I was called sir. Turn of a page, if you will. Well, it's the least I could do, I thought. After all, aren't we supposed to be hospitable to one another? And then the surprise came today. I was walking toward my car in the Raley's parking lot when I heard, sir. Now, I did pause for a moment, and I thought, it can't be me. I've got all of my purchases. I used a credit card, and I've got my receipt, so there's no change. There's nothing anybody would be calling after me for. I kept walking to the car. I'm thinking somebody else is being served. I remember hearing that a couple of more times, and then all of a sudden the word changed to Father, and again I walked on. Now at my car, the word changed again. This time it was preacher. I felt a little bit like Eli in yesterday's reflection. The phone calls were coming, and I wasn't answering them. I turned, and there was a woman with 3 kids in tow, the 3 kids from yesterday in the parking lot. 2 thoughts then immediately ran through my mind at the same time. Oh, this is not going to be good. I'm going to get in trouble for letting them in to use the bathroom. Or this is going to be very good, and she's going to be very thankful and appreciative. It was the latter. Mom said that her oldest daughter had recognized me as I was walking out of Raley's, and telling her that I was the one at the church who let them use the bathrooms yesterday, and to avoid embarrassment. Apparently, it was a close call. So Mom wanted to thank me very much for my kindness. I graciously accepted her thanks, and she told me that her kids had been riding and how much fun it was for them and how much it meant to her that they had a safe place to play, to ride their bikes, to enjoy time, to be kids. I said, it's just one of the services we try to provide here at Shepherd of the Hills. She said she hoped that our school and our church would be back in full swing, as she said, this fall. Because they enjoy coming up to the pumpkin patch and have been here for the last 5 years. They really missed it this year, she said. I echoed that thought. Yes, we did too. I missed seeing the students coming up, hearing the chatter, hearing the great pumpkin singing to them. The older daughter nodded appreciatively. His songs are funny, she offered. So, Mr. Chris, your songs are funny. I don't imagine that's news to you. But it's just one of those little things, isn't it? Those little memories, those hopes. It's all of those things that make a difference. Who would have ever thought that one of the ministries we would be providing here at Shepherd of the Hills was now a parking lot bike experience, a safe place? God works in mysterious ways, wonders to perform during this pandemic. And we just have to be open to see them. and like Samuel, open to hear about him. I look forward to seeing you on Sunday, but until then, and even beyond then, please remember, wash those hands 3-4 times a day, 20 seconds at a time. Use your hand lotion afterwards to keep them nice and soft for everybody else. Wear your masks, please. Stay home if you're not feeling well. Keep that 6-foot social distancing going. Well, let's keep the hospital ICU beds emptying instead of filling up. Perhaps it'll be a reversal in the next couple of weeks. I hear vaccines are being distributed. Some of our members got them today, I hear. Good news. May they come to the rest of us soon rather than later. And of course, demonstrate love for one another. And I'm going to dismiss you with those great words from Sergeant Esterhaus. Be careful out there.